Story 1: The Curious Cat. In a small, picturesque village lived a curious cat named Milo. Milo was known for his adventurous spirit and his bright green eyes that sparkled with curiosity. Every day, he roamed the village, exploring new sights and sounds. One sunny afternoon, Milo noticed something unusual in Mrs. Wilson's garden. It was a colorful butterfly, fluttering among the flowers. Intrigued, Milo crept closer, his paws silent on the soft grass. He watched the butterfly intently, studying its every move. Suddenly, the butterfly took off, soaring into the air. Without hesitation, Milo leaped after it, his heart racing with excitement. He chased the butterfly through the garden, around the old oak tree, and across the bustling marketplace. As he pursued his new friend, Milo didn't realize he had ventured far from home. The surroundings were unfamiliar, the scents and sounds strange and new. He paused, feeling a twinge of fear. But then, he remembered the kind voices of the village children and the comforting smell of Mrs. Wilson's kitchen. Gathering his courage, Milo retraced his steps. He remembered the landmarks, the oak tree, the colorful marketplace, and the fragrant garden. With each familiar sight, his confidence grew. Finally, as the sun began to set, Milo arrived back in his neighborhood. He was greeted warmly by the villagers who had watched him grow up. Mrs. Wilson scooped him into her arms, relieved. That night, Milo learned an important lesson about curiosity and the comfort of home. As he snuggled into his cozy bed, he dreamed of his next adventure, knowing that no matter how far he roamed, he would always find his way back home. Story 2: The Wise Old Owl. In the heart of a dense forest, high up in the branches of an ancient oak tree, lived a wise old owl named Oliver. Oliver had seen many seasons change, and had gained wisdom from each one. Animals from all over the forest came to him for advice. One evening, a young rabbit named Ellie approached Oliver. She was anxious about finding her way back to her burrow before dark. Oliver, with his keen eyes, could see far and wide, even at night. "Oliver," Ellie said timidly, "I'm lost and it's getting dark. I can't find my way home." Oliver peered down at her with kind eyes. "Do not worry, Ellie. I will guide you. The forest at night is not as frightening as it seems." Using his deep knowledge of the forest, Oliver instructed Ellie to follow the moss on the trees, which always grew on the side pointing toward her home. He also told her to listen for the gentle stream that flowed near her burrow, as the sound would guide her in the right direction. Thankful and reassured, Ellie followed Oliver's advice. As she made her way through the forest, she noticed the moss and heard the stream's comforting flow. Soon, she found her way back to her burrow, feeling more confident than ever. Grateful for Oliver's wisdom, Ellie learned that knowledge and observation are key to overcoming fears of the unknown. Story 3: The Brave Little Parrot. In a vibrant rainforest, there lived a colorful parrot named Pablo. Pablo was smaller than most of the other birds, but what he lacked in size, he made up for in courage. One day, a storm hit the rainforest. Strong winds shook the trees, and rain fell in torrents. All the animals sought shelter, but Pablo noticed a small squirrel family trapped on a thin branch that looked about to break. Without a second thought, Pablo flew through the raging storm to the squirrels. He encouraged them to climb onto his back, and one by one, he carried them to safety in a nearby hollow. Pablo's brave act did not go unnoticed. The other animals hailed him as a hero. They realized that courage isn't about being the biggest or the strongest, but about making a difference when it matters the most. From that day, Pablo was not just a small parrot in the eyes of the rainforest dwellers. He was their brave protector, ready to help anyone in need. Story 4. The Clever Fox. In a bustling forest, there lived a clever fox named Fiona. Fiona was known for her sharp mind and quick thinking. One day, while wandering through the forest, she stumbled upon a jar filled with cookies that had been left by a picnic party. Excited, Fiona tried to reach her paw into the jar to grab a cookie, but the neck of the jar was too narrow. She tried and tried but couldn't get the cookies out. Just as she was about to give up, an idea struck her. Fiona gathered small stones and dropped them one by one into the jar. Slowly, the cookies began to rise higher and higher until they were within easy reach. Delighted with her success, Fiona enjoyed her well-earned treat. Her clever solution spread across the forest, reminding everyone that sometimes, thinking differently can solve a seemingly difficult problem. Story 5. The Gentle Giant. Deep in the mountains lived a large bear named Bruno. Despite his intimidating size, Bruno was gentle and kind-hearted. His presence was comforting to the other animals, who often sought his protection. One chilly evening, a lost and frightened deer stumbled into Bruno's part of the forest. Seeing her distress, Bruno approached slowly, making sure not to startle her. "Don't be afraid," Bruno rumbled softly. "You are safe here." He then led the deer to a safe path that would guide her back to her herd. Along the way, Bruno shared his knowledge of the forest, pointing out the best sources of food and water. The deer was thankful for Bruno's kindness, and the gentle giant felt a warm sense of happiness, knowing he had helped a friend in need. Story 6. The Daring Dolphin. Off a sunny coast, a playful dolphin named Daisy loved to leap high above the waves. Known for her daring stunts, Daisy drew crowds of fish and other sea creatures who watched in awe. One day, while performing her acrobatic flips, Daisy noticed a young turtle entangled in a fishing net below the surface. Without hesitation, she dived down to the struggling turtle. Using her nose, Daisy pushed and pulled at the net until the turtle was free. Grateful, the turtle thanked Daisy, calling her a hero. From that day on, Daisy not only entertained her friends with her leaps but also watched over them as a protector of the sea. Story 7. The Humble Hedgehog. In a quiet corner of a sprawling garden, a humble hedgehog named Henry lived beneath a hawthorn bush. Henry was not as flashy or noticeable as some of the other garden animals, but he carried a unique wisdom about him. One day, a group of young rabbits were playing nearby and accidentally kicked their ball into a thorny patch. Unsure of how to retrieve it without getting hurt, they turned to Henry for help. With careful movements, Henry navigated through the thorns with his protective spines, retrieving the ball for the rabbits without a single complaint. The rabbits thanked him profusely, learning that humility and a willingness to help others often go unnoticed but are truly remarkable traits. Story 8. The Persistent Penguin. Far in the icy realms of the Antarctic, lived a young penguin named Penny. Penny had always struggled with diving, something that came naturally to most penguins. Despite her initial failures, Penny was determined to improve. She practiced every day, pushing herself to dive deeper and swim faster. Her friends supported her, cheering her on from the sidelines. After many attempts, Penny finally mastered the art of diving. Her perseverance paid off, showing her peers that determination and hard work can overcome any obstacle, no matter how insurmountable it may seem. Story 9. The Resourceful Raccoon. In the heart of a bustling city park, a resourceful raccoon named Ricky scavenged for food each night. Ricky was an expert at finding the best treats in the trash bins, using his clever paws to open lids and untie backs. One night, Ricky found a jar with just a bit of peanut butter left at the bottom. Knowing he couldn't reach it with his paws, Ricky got creative. He found a long stick and used it to scoop out the peanut butter, enjoying every last bit. His inventive methods not only fed him but also provided a lesson to the other park animals. Sometimes, using what's available creatively can yield the best results. Story 10: The Loyal Dog. In a small, close-knit neighborhood, a loyal dog named Buster lived with his human family. Buster was known for his unwavering loyalty and protective nature. One evening, while on a walk, Buster and his owner heard faint cries coming from a nearby alley. Trusting Buster's instincts, they followed the sounds, finding a kitten stuck in a drain. Buster gently nudged his owner towards the kitten, who then safely rescued it. The kitten was reunited with its family, who were grateful for Buster's keen senses and loyalty. This act of bravery reinforced the strong bond between Buster and his community, reminding everyone of the profound connection that can exist between humans and animals.